Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the February 11, 2025 Planning Commission meeting. Approval of the minutes for January 14, 2025.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Communications from the audience for items that are not listed as a public hearing on the agenda. There are none. New business, election of officers. Chair, Vice Chair, and Secretary.
Are we opening up for nominations?
We are.
I nominate Brooke Anderson to be chair.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then,
I nominate Nate Bosch as vice chair.
Support.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? You gonna campaign?
Campaign?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No? Okay, we're good now.
Yeah.
And then for secretary,
I'd love Vince to be the secretary.
I'd support that.
I don't know if I'm eligible yet. I have to be here. I have to have been on for a year,
Do you have to have been on for a whole
read
year?
the bylaws.
according to the bylaws.
According to the
Oh,
bylaws.
yes.
Oh,
You
someone-
read the
someone read the
bylaws.
bylaws.
That's good, you read the
it has
bylaws.
to be Jen
Jen or
or
Dave?
Dave.
If you
You
need
could- but you
somebody,
can nominate me in 2 months.
I don't,
if you need somebody, I'll do it.
Dave, I nominate Dave DeBlock.
I support.
all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Oh, good job, Dave. You got the job.
Thank you all.
Thank you for your service.
When does this term end? Maybe that will happen on its own. I don't know.
Actually, 26,
No, he's got a whole nother year. Good.
26.
Yes. All right. We have covered chair, vice chair, and secretary. Next item is bylaw review.
So staff is not recommending any changes. Can certainly spend as much time as you want to go through there. I wasn't going to give you the whole bylaw, but I did, maybe as I always do, like to point out a couple sections that I think are just important reminders. The conflict of interest, which I think we've done a really good job when we've had that over the last year. And the ex parte communication, I thought, is another section I like to just remind us all about. And again, I guess my summary of that is just making sure we have all of the conversation that takes place. Really, we want it to take place here, and that if you do have some sort of conversation outside of here, you know, that you let the group know what has happened. So obviously there's a lot more in the bylaws, but those are two areas I guess I like to highlight every year just to keep them front of mind as we do our business throughout the year. But we're not recommending any changes,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, conflict of interest. I think we've all recognized that and stepped out when necessary. So, yep. All right. Anyone else have any questions about the bylaws? No? Okay. Work plan 2025.
Work plan 2025. So I know I gave you my favorite sheet. Sorry, Dave. I know the font is really small. But we talked a little bit about this at the study session at our last meeting. And so what you got in front of you is what we are recommending to put on our work plan for the year. There's 9 different items. 8 of those are right off of the sheet from the master plan action items. The 9th item is again from the master plan, but it's in the corridor planning. So we kept the North Downtown 6th Street sub-area plan in there as well. I would also mention just something a little bit that we added from the study session. There was a comment made about, you know, maybe there could be some work done for wayfinding as a result of the ice rink going downtown. There was already an item in our whole list there, and I think it's number 7 on the memo that you've got there, that we thought, well, that seemed to be close enough to really the spirit of what you were talking about, so we thought we would add that on our list as well. So that's how we came up with the 9 different items. And again, not that we don't work on all of these things, or at least attempt to work on all of these. I don't know what our list is now, it's 150 or something. But the work plan items, I guess I like to think of them as the things that, you know, we can really make some progress on in a year. So obviously, there's a lot in the master plan action item list that are ongoing efforts that will always be going on. But I've tried to use the work plan items to be things that we think we can make some progress on or accomplish in the year. So this is what we were recommending for our list for 2025.
What's involved in the sub-area plan for North Downtown?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and my honest answer right now is I'm not sure. One of the reasons why, and that was on the list last year, and one of the reasons why we really didn't make any progress on that is we feel like that's really tied in with the Waterfront Holland effort, and until we know a little bit more about what's going to happen there, you know, we don't want to start doing some study down there and then find out, you know, geez, I wish we would have done something different because now Waterfront Holland has changed this or that. So, but we wanted to have a placeholder in there for that. So if that project really gets some traction, that we could move forward with doing some sub-area planning, a little bit like we are doing right now with the South Washington project. So,
And for well, technically it's all Waterfront Holland, right? Like even North Downtown was addressed by Waterfront Holland, but you mean specifically where 8th Street terminates, what's going on down there will affect what we're doing on the North Downtown area? Yeah,
and I think, you know, it could affect what we study, and maybe what the size and scope of all of that is. So, and that's something that, as we've done with some of these other projects, we would partner with, for instance, Transportation Department, right? So, wanted to keep it on the list. City Council has put some money in the budget, so we've got some money to spend if something does happen. But that's a really long answer to say I don't know. I don't know yet, but we want to have something ready to go if that takes off. Does that make sense?
It does, thank you.
Steve, just an item of note on number 6 on the local food businesses. We have been asked to participate in a industry cluster analysis for food processing with the West Michigan Shoreline Group. And they are looking at Lake, Muskegon, Mason, Newaygo, and Oceana counties, looking at the food processing cluster, and they have asked Ottawa to be part of it. So we can update you with that. They received an EDA grant for that work too. So that's just a planning commission group who engaged us, and so we can bring that back and share the findings.
Great, yeah, and that's a really good example of, there's a lot of these things on here that really take effort from other, you know, groups and agencies. So yeah, that would be great to get updated on something like that. I did include in your packet, you saw we got a comment about the work plan. So I wanted to include that to let you know, and then you saw my response as well. So I guess just to make sure if you saw that, that's where that came from.
Looks good.
So I guess if that looks all right, yeah, I guess I'm just looking for approval of our proposed.
No, it looks good, and I appreciate your comment that these are not the only thing that we're looking at, and these are kind of supplemental to the things that we're doing all the time as well. I just went through our ranking exercise for City Council on priorities, and it's always difficult to say, well, these are what our priorities are when you're looking at the 17 other things that you go, well, we've got to do all of these things as well, and go, well, I'm not even putting a number down next to that thing that I know we absolutely have to do also. So it's good to keep all of that in context. So thanks for that.
Yeah, I think that was one of the comments, maybe the responses that you saw in your packet. The person made, you know, housing, and I was like, yep, that is front and center of everything we do. So it's not like we're not working on that.
Yep, these are in addition to,
These are some of the things that I think we can focus and like I say, try to maybe knock off the list and accomplish something within a year. So that's how I've tried to think of the work plan items.
great.
What was the electrical connections for pop-up businesses one again?
Yeah, I think that's what we heard. maybe during the master plan update about just having some electrical connections to try to, you know, facilitate different things that are going on. And that was something that we were hoping that, again, we could work with the DDA and some of the bid boards, to see if there is something there that we could help with.
This is specific to the downtown corridor.
I think it
more?
was kind of a mixture of spots. I think we talked about just generally, like, for instance, like food trucks and other things
Right.
that,
Like
you know,
Collin
like,
Park
how
or-
can we be flexible and adaptive to allowing for those things to happen while also making sure that we're working with businesses that are either impacted or supporting those things to make that work. So I think it was more of like, how can those be facilitated more in strategic locations around town?
For more connections or, mhm.
Or maybe just in the right spots too.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Every block for block parties. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Looks good, Steve, thank you.
Yeah.
Communications and petitions, scheduling of public hearings. There are none communications from commission members? No? Communications from staff?
Just a couple things. The joint meeting is coming up on the 25th, 5 to 6, here in this room. We also have the South Washington open house here in this room on the 24th. So I know you're not looking for more meetings to go to, but just a couple things that are coming up. The South Washington meeting is at 4. And this is Jen Payne's last meeting with us. So she's just moving over, not moving on, just moving over.
She's still with the city.
Oh, okay.
She's still with
Yeah.
the city.
What's
And
happening?
you found a replacement?
We
Moving-
did.
Oh, okay.
We did.
So,
As
so,
soon as we get someone good, you take her away.
I can't help it. As long as they stay in the organization, we're happy.
What do you,
I'm taking Noe Balcazar's former position with the rentals, the smoke detector certificate.
okay.
He was promoted due to a retirement. Yes. So this is good.
Shifting around, got it.
Yeah, that's great. Same department, he just had to move to a different cubicle. Very nearby.
Right.
Yeah, maybe a few, who knows?
4 more square feet.
So
Just a
that's
little-
the
little
domino
shuffling.
effect. Yes,
Okay.
it's a domino effect, but as long
Yeah.
as she didn't leave the organization, and no, we didn't either, it's good. Yeah.
No more work for you, right?
Well, it's a domino effect.
Yeah, that's true.
right.
But we have a good candidate, or a good hire, I should say. Couple
Okay.
weeks before she starts, I think.
Next, the 17th.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
wonderful. Well, we'll miss you, Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
Miss you guys.
One less Jennifer, though.
That's true.
There's a lot of
You didn't
Jennifers.
hire another one?
No, her name is not Jennifer.
Okay, all right. So confusing.
That's all I have.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor say goodbye.
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 Goodbye.